Hello everyone, my name is Stefan Jr. and this is CPSH. Today we will be discussing the topic of immigration to the United States. Immigration is moving to a foreign country to start life anew. But what is this process like for immigrants? Has this process gotten better in the past years? And what are the issues? The issue that we will be discussing is discrimination by race, or racism. However, if we want to see if the process has gotten better, we're going to need some insight. I'll be sending you over to 1916. Thank you, Stefan Jr. We are here on the East Coast at Ellis Island. I'm Stefan Sr. I'm actually his great-great-grandfather. And I'll be telling you about how immigration works during my time. On Ellis Island, we have European immigrants that left their countries to come to the U.S. in search of new economic opportunities and a better life. This place is very crowded, and the average European immigrant would have to spend up to several hours before they could pass inspection and leave. If they can't pass inspection, they would be deported back to where they came from, but that isn't very common. Now let's take a look at the conditions on Angel Island, on the other side of the country. We are now here on the other side of the country on the west coast at Angel Island. Here we have Asian immigrants who have come to the US for new economic opportunities and hopes for a better life. Now this is where racism comes into play, and we can see that in the difference of conditions on both islands. 12 million European immigrants would each spend up to several hours on their island, while 1 million Asian immigrants would each be held on their respective island for up to a few weeks or even months, even when the island had less people to inspect. That shows us that the US felt more obligated to take care of its white immigrants over its non-white immigrants. Asian immigrants also had to face a harder inspection and then go on to living a life of low pay and discrimination. Funny enough, the US also placed a ban on Chinese immigrants coming to the US through the Chinese Exclusion Act in 1882. They would say that they did it to improve the economy, but obviously it was because of racism. But the US didn't do that to the white European immigrants. Sounds a lot like racism to me. Back to you, Stefan Jr. Yes, thank you, Stefan Sr. That was a lie. Now let's see if immigration has improved since then. Thankfully, the Chinese Exclusion Act was abolished in 1943, and Chinese immigrants were allowed to finally immigrate back into the US. That is the first step in the right direction. In the present day, the Immigration and Nationality Act, or INA, states that the US government allows up to 675,000 permanent immigrant visas each year, which means they allow that many into the US. The Act also states that it's solely principled on the reunification of families, admitting immigrants with skills that are valuable to the US economy, protecting refugees, and promoting diversity. What stands out is diversity, and that means the US has embraced all races, which is a big improvement from the racist policies during the Gilded Age against Chinese immigrants. Now that is a big improvement. To end this segment, let's have a recap. We have talked about how the United States has been able to successfully abolish racist immigration laws from the Gilded Age that prohibited non-white immigrants, and how they replaced those laws with non-discriminatory ones that are aiming to improve the country's diversity by allowing all immigrants and not considering their race. With that, we can conclude that the United States has been successful in fixing racist immigration laws. This has been CPSH, signing off.